Welcome back to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. I'm Aaron Richmond. Tonight, or today, or this morning's episode, however you listen to it, is of course copywritten by me, Aaron Richmond, and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. Don't forget you can watch us right here on YouTube, where so many of you do, along with following us. On Twitter, Facebook, and even consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page, Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com, 1240-681-9869. You noticed I struggled a little bit there determining what time of day it was for a moment, because usually I don't record first thing in the morning, but I'm very honored to be doing so because today we have a special for you today. We're joined by Malik. He joins us all the way from the other end of the pond in India. He is the CEO of IDEA, Inclusive Disability Entrepreneur Association. A very good evening to you. Welcome to Aaron's Opinion. My first question is this. So, please tell us about yourself. How did you come into IDEA? Go right ahead.
Good morning, Aaron, and hi, everybody. My name is Malik. I'm from India. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm a person with disability. Uh, at early age, I got affected with polio, and my I belong to an educated family, so my parents always gave trust on education. That is how that education actually brought me where I am now. And my journey to idea uh, is not coincidence. It's a commitment that I made almost 20 years back to come back to the sector and contribute something very concrete for persons with disability, and also building this ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem in India. So as I said, I'm a social entrepreneur. I run few companies in livelihoods and skill development domain. And while working, I could understand the basic problems of persons with disabilities. More than the problems, the strength of this segment, the huge segment which can contribute to national economy, global economy, that is what excites me. And after a study, we realized this is a time for us to build a network of disabled entrepreneurs in India who could add a lot of value to the nation when it is at the peak of growth and India is evolving towards a on the growth path of becoming a developed nation. We felt that inclusion through inclusion, disabled entrepreneurs can contribute to this nation building process. So this thought actually made me to visualize an organization along with few other friends. That is how we built IDEA as an association of Divyangjan disabled entrepreneurs in India.
Excellent. I am 29 years old, and it is your story is very interesting, as all of my guests are. Guys, for the younger listeners, if you're in your 20s, polio, just to remind you, because most of my listeners are from America, so they might have forgotten what polio is. In short, it's a sickness that affects your muscles, right? It affects your muscles and your ability to stand up, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, it's very interesting. Our country in America, we had a lot of challenges with polio in the 20th century. So, and as far as the companies that your organization runs and the opportunities that you give people all over India, tell us about those opportunities, please.
Yeah. So the first opportunity is to visualize that persons with disability can actually contribute. Uh, the opportunity that we provide is to change the mindset of a taker to a giver. So in India, if you look at most of the time, we feel that many of the either government initiatives or public initiatives, we feel that if there is a person with disability, he or she needs support. Support in terms of grant, funding, subsidies, or assistive devices. But what we fail to understand till now is the strength of this community. There are studies. I'll tell you, India is on a growth path of making this nation a 5 trillion economy. So, Honorable Prime Minister of India declared a mission to make this country a 5 trillion economy. You will be amazed to know, Arun, the global statistics. If I consider 1 billion people or person with disabilities in this world, we never saw them as a market. We never saw them as a market force. And the study shows all these 1 billion PWDs, their families in the world, they contribute almost $8 trillion economy. So this is what the starting point for us. How do you become a giver rather than a taker? How do you become an entrepreneur and start providing employment opportunities, not only for persons with disability, but also otherwise? How do you become the champion of inclusion through your enterprise and start giving opportunity for other marginalized communities like women, leprosy affected, other persons with disabilities, the poorest of the poor in this country? So when anybody would like to associate with us, we tell them start realizing the immense potential that you have as an entrepreneur and start thinking yourself as a part of business ecosystem. Try to identify a business which can take you to the places and start building that idea in a professional manner so that through business we'll be able to uh, achieve most of the goals that we want to achieve.
Excellent. It really is about the mindset. And this is something that I tell my listeners and I tell people all over the world. If you know that you can contribute, you need to be contributing. And it's all, a lot of it is in, as we say, it's all in our head. If we believe, if we know that we can be the person who's giving, then we will be. So exactly what employment opportunities do you provide for people after they commit to associating with IDEA? What do what do they do as far as employment?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of employment, IDEA works as an aggregator platform. It works like a platform between the corporates and the prospective PWD employees. So considering the skill set of the PWD employees and also making companies understand the importance of inclusion and diversity, we do this matchmaking. And you'll be surprised to know that recently when we conducted a study, uh, within 2 days, we could get more than 100 um, PWD, PWDs who are software engineers, coders, artificial intelligence, most of the sought after things now, we everywhere PWDs are there. Second thing is, over a period of time, individual person with disabilities have achieved something in their life and entered into the corporate world. Either they have become communication heads, they have become marketing heads, they have become senior vice presidents of the companies, but there was no platform for them to showcase their talents and also contribute back. So IDEA is creating a gig economy platform for all the professional persons with disabilities in India, starting from a barber to a carpenter to a plumber to an engineer, chartered accountant, doctor, whoever you are. If you are in a profession and you are a person with disability, this is a platform you come and contribute, and we want to take them. And now rest of the society should start hiring them, see their abilities rather than the disabilities, and over a period of time we would like to create a set of changes in the corporate mindset, which already we are seeing. Most of the multinational companies or big 10 companies, companies coming from outside, for example, Amazon, hiring persons with disability in a big way and partnered with the IDEA. Similarly, many of the international companies, as part of their diversity and inclusion plans, they feel a lot of strength in hiring persons with disability. So Arun, what we do is we never go to the company and ask for jobs for PWDs. We go to the companies and ask them that, do you want to become profitable? Do you want to sustain? Do you want to scale? We have the success formula with us. They get curious and they ask yes. Then we say that start hiring person with disabilities. Study
Excellent.
after the study showing that those companies which have hired persons with disability not only sustained their business but also sustained their profits over a period of time, and beyond that, they did wonderful work. So now this is a time for all of us to understanding that by including persons with disabilities in our employment ecosystem, we are going to, our profit ratio is going to increase, our credibility is going to double, our visibility is going to be multiple times. So with this strength, knowledge base or skill base of persons with disability, we are trying to enter into the employer side.
I love it. Absolutely love it. In America, we even in America, we still have, struggles in the disability community in regards to employment. And a lot of times what happens, Monique, is if someone comes to a company in the United States, in my opinion, companies basically are allowed to decide if they want to hire the person with the disability or not. And if they hire the person, that's great. But what has been happening a lot more and more in America is that companies are, as you said, are not seeing the abilities and the contribution and the profitability that someone with a disability can bring them. So they simply, in America, are oftentimes not hiring. And I see this a lot. I'm in a lot of these blind and visually impaired support groups throughout the world, and around social media. And I see all the time constant frustration about not being employed. And it really, for one thing, it really affects the economy. For another, it really affects people's families. For another, and on top of all that, it's really affecting the psychology and the psyche of people with disabilities. When you are not working, it really affects you.
That's true.
So
That's true.
it's very, very, very detrimental if you are not working. On the other hand, it's very positive if you are, because you know that you're contributing and contributing to the economy, as you said. But I love the way you approach that, because in America we would never ask the questions that way. We would just be more abrupt and more demanding. Hire me or not, and then we would just leave. We wouldn't get into the wisdom of understanding that if you hire more people, it's a stronger company. Of course, that's true, but in my opinion, Americans do not always think about that. I mean, I hope that there's someone on YouTube who's getting angry with me and commenting below. I hire people. I understand profitability. I hope that's you out there. And if it is, good, great. Comment below. Explain to me how you understand what profitability means. But you could not be, what you just said was not, could not have been more accurate. And I wish that more people understood profitability and just simply understood the equation. If you hire someone, you're a stronger employer, you're a stronger company. And overall, the vast majority of people truly are great and truly are going to be assets for a company. And that's one thing that I believe. Do you have, of
That's true.
course, does every company, on the, just to show you the whole scope of the equation, does every company have one or two people that eh, might be a little odd, maybe need to hone their skills a tiny bit? Sure. Every company has those characters, but the vast majority of companies have great people who want to make the company strong. And that's clearly what you believe and clearly what IDEA does. Yeah. So,
That's true, Arun.
oh yeah, yeah.
In fact, one of the major thing that we have observed is most of the companies actually they want to engage with persons with disabilities, but most of that time, honestly, they confess that they really do not know how to engage with.
Right.
Particularly, like even in India, though I said that it is a case for in case of visual impairment, visually challenged, it's not very easy. In fact, it is not at all easy to get them into corporate jobs. And most of the time, our friends or visually challenged friends, they say that we can do all the things what you expect, rather we can exceed your expectations, give us an opportunity. But most of the time, corporates, they confess, we really do not know how to engage with a visually challenged, we really do not know how to engage with a hearing impaired. So the awareness level and the engagement level, inclusion has to be mainstream. That is why we felt it is not standalone things are not going to work. PWDs fighting for their own rights is not going to work. It's normal society which has to be vocal for person with disabilities. Now, persons with disability needs to talk about the society. That is how the societal mindset is going to change. There is only one obstacle, that is inclusion, whether it is accessibility, mindset change. There is only one solution, which is inclusion. If we start engaging PWDs over a period of time, we'll realize we have done one of the best, we have made one of the best decisions, either for the corporate or for the family, or for that matter, for the society. So how do we ensure that this inclusion happens is the most critical thing. You'll be very happy to know, Aaron. I just would like to tell that, the genesis of idea has gone through almost a 2-year process. We started studying various networks which exist. One such network from where we got inspired is NIB from America, National Industry for Blind, and the way that Skillcraft has been built. Similarly, there is another network for marginalized communities in India called Dicky, Dalit Industry Chamber of Commerce. The most marginalized communities 15 years back in India, they all got together, formed this network called Dicky. So studying some of these experiences, we felt that this is a high time to create a platform for abilities of the disabled, to create a platform which talks about the skills, which talks about employment, entrepreneurship, and the the marketability of the disabled. So one thing always I say, I'm also part of Fair Trade movement. I am president of Fair Trade Network in India. Globally, we have shown how inclusion is possible at the business places. We have so many successful models which are there. So the most important thing is we all are customers, consumers. So if 1 billion consumers and their families, even in India, 1/5 of every PWD in the world resides in India. So I'm started telling my brothers and sisters that don't think yourself as only a PWD. Think yourself as a consumer, conscious consumer, and there is a market around you, and there are services which needed for you. So all these companies will listen when we'll start talking about their language. If we are all are the customers for their company, then the perspective will change. So many of those parallels we are drawing from fair trade movement, ethical initiatives, or alternative movements which are happening in US, Europe, and other parts. And I'm very sure this market-led approach, economy-led approach, self-reliance-led approach will definitely will make not only the corporates, the society realize the strength of person with disabilities over a period of time.
I completely agree. I completely. It's Yeah. It's so really. It's mostly about how our attitude is what this comes down to. It's all in our head in the end. If we know that this is important in our lives to be the person who's the producer, and then it works. Yeah. Um, very good. This is all amazing. So you work with a lot of industries all over India. Have you met any Indian podcasters or broadcasters?
Yes, yes. So we regularly interact with in India. Community radios are prevalent. So though podcasts, there are it's an emerging thing now, but there are a lot of community radios, and there are other influencer networks which are available in India. With some of them, we keep interacting with.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Mm, and what other service organizations do you partner with? For example, do you partner with Lions clubs, other organizations like that? What types of organizations do you guys partner with to help in your goals and mission?
Yes. So as I said, it is an aggregator platform. One of the core area is for each action we have multiple stakeholders, either a civil society organization or a corporate CSR arm or a government wing which works with persons with disabilities or some of the organizations that you mentioned, either Lions Club or some of the charities that exist in India. And for that matter, for example, recently we tied up with a US based organization called World Women Foundation, wherein we signed an MOU. We are trying to actually empower 100 women with disabilities through micro enterprises in India. So we are looking for some of the partners who can join hands. What all we wanted is what this community requires is to broaden their vision. They need partners. So startups are a big thing in India. We are trying to get many of the PWDs into startup ecosystem. So even outside country, if any entrepreneur is there, disabled, PWD or otherwise, we are planning that why can't they join with the PWD entrepreneur and start doing something. And similarly, for the upskilling of PWDs for their knowledge and other things, we are also looking for some of the universities, some of the colleges, or some of the students who can intern with them, because these the socio-economic background of most of the PWDs in India are lower middle class or poorest of the poor. So they have it. They have dreams, but finance and presence in the market are the biggest challenges for them. So that we are trying to build through by linking them with some of the networks, including social entrepreneurs and young interns from various colleges who are trying to become guardians for them or facilitators for them in the initial phases of their business.
Excellent. So good. Awesome. So what are some interesting startups that you have noticed these days around India? What are some really interesting startups that you can tell us about?
Yeah. So there are many unicorn startups from India. You'll be interested to know. Almost in 2013, when Startup India program started, there were three unicorns in India in the startup ecosystem. Now almost the number reached to 30. And you name any segment, a lot of innovations are happening. And after COVID, a lot of new startups have emerged, creating business opportunities out of the crisis. And one of the major thing after crisis happened was India was not at all prepared for COVID crisis. Neither we have masks, nor we have hospitals ready, nor any other things. But this is through startup ecosystem. Within no time we could able to actually produce most of the things and become self reliant. So it's a vibrant startup ecosystem which exists in India. A lot of interesting things are happening. So with some of them, definitely we are working very closely.
Great. Good to know. Yeah, and I think after we fully recover in the world from COVID, I think we will see a lot more startups developing. So I completely agree with you about all of that. Yeah. And where have you traveled around the United States, by the way?
Yes. So in fact, I traveled several times. A few times as a campaigner for the fair trade. So several universities have invited me to present the case studies, and few times we traveled for some business meetings. We were also part of few networks in US like SEEP network, which has supported us to create this business plan previously. And also there are other networks and supporters who exist in US, so to learn and take up new things. frequently we visit several other countries, and I was very fortunate because of this international exposure. We could really understand that what is lacking in our country. How do we, like, for instance, I talked about NIB model. You know, somebody shared from US about this model. That is where we come across, and then we could understand that yes, this is very much possible. Similarly, several visits to Europe made me really think what does accessibility means, and it has opened up and broadened our vision, and all these things culminated and helped me while I was conceptualizing and setting up of idea.
That's excellent. Yeah. And so what did you have to do, by the way, to like set up? Um, good. Okay, well, let me just click this little pop up here. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I just had just a little dialogue box came up. I am very, I am very stingy, so I do not pay. I'm on the free plan. So actually, Zoom just let me know that we have 10 minutes left on this recording. You've done a magnificent job. Um, so before we run out of time, let me just ask you a couple huge questions. I love what you guys do, and so will our viewers and listeners. If someone wants to get in touch with you, if they want to help idea, learn more about it, where do they go?
They can email us at inclusivedivyangjan at gmail.com. Soon we are setting up of a website and portal as well, and we through WhatsApp also we can interact with them. We love to have more partners from US like-minded, and what we are thinking is like most of our beneficiaries, the enterprises that we are setting up, are from rural areas. If we can give them a partner in US who can actually show them the way, that could be a great boost for many of these entrepreneurs. Through technology, we can bridge this gap, and if that knowledge sharing can happen, that can change millions' life in India. So there are various means in which we can connect through Skype, through Zoom, or whatever platforms. They are available in almost all platforms, and people can get into our Facebook and Instagram pages also. They are pretty active. From there also we can get connected.
Excellent, excellent, good, good. Yeah, I can put, if you guys want, I can put a link. Well, you can tell me offline, but I can certainly put a link if you want. You can give me a link that I can put into the description that people can just click into to learn about you guys. Or do you have a YouTube channel for one thing?
Yes, we have a YouTube channel. Just we are started off. So
Hmm.
I think Vinay will share all the links soon with you. That would be a
Excellent.
great help if you can share.
Yeah, yeah. I find that most people with podcasting gravitate towards YouTube. Um, so that's a really easy way to get in touch. And then, from there, people can always comment below and you can have conversations. So YouTube is the easiest, but so good. Okay. Well, of course, you don't, know much about me at all. So what questions do you have for me?
Yes. So I'm curious to know your journey around and what made you to become a podcaster, and then what are your dreams, how you would like to take it forward.
My journey is that I was born in America. I was born with glaucoma and I was born blind. My academic background is in the field of international relations. I've been teaching English for 5.5 years online. So I'm basically self employed doing that. It is very challenging, even in America, for people who are blind or have a disability. What led me to be a podcaster, as I was telling Vinay before you came in, was that there are so many podcasts out there for a blind audience, but I felt that they just were not approachable. You know, and I have a lot of opinions. I love to talk to the world. I love having conversations. I just love producing material that other people enjoy. So So, you know, that's how
That's
I got
yeah, that's great.
that's how I
So
got
some
into it. Hmm.
great. Sometime we would like to introduce you to Indian audience, and there is a huge market for English speaking in India. And if we
Hmm.
can create an ecosystem where English speaking, India is a very diverse country. So the languages which unify India is English, and most
Right.
of the people they struggle with English. So a lot of people take tuitions, and they keep home tutors. They look for online platforms. So this is an area definitely uh, can be explored, and
Sure. Sure.
we'll introduce you to some of our audience, and it
Well,
would be inspiring to discuss more business ideas. And also as I said, India is a potential market for talented people like you, and there is a need
you're
here, and
You're
you
very
have
good.
that
Well, you're
expertise. So
very well. You're that's wonderful. You're so kind. You know, I always enjoy guests that are informed and kind and motivated and ready, and that's what you are. So, after I send you guys back this video, this YouTube video, just publish it. Just send
sure.
it. Just pick a whole list of people and just send them the video. Send it to as many people as you know, to make sure that the wisdom that you have and that you've given my audience is shared with as many as are ready to learn. Because everything that you have said today, is the attitude that we need all over the world, not just in your country, not just in India, not just in America, but every country needs to know that if you hire someone with a disability, you're building a stronger economy, and then you're building a stronger country without any doubt. That's the life lesson from today's video.
That's true, Aaron. And you have not told what is your dream, unfulfilled dream till date.
Ah, dream to have. How about to help as many people as I can, and to keep learning along the way.
Oh, great.
All right. I think that is a. I think this was a magnificent episode. Um, if you guys want to get in touch with Idea, click the link in the description for more information. Know that you and Vinny and anyone at Idea or anyone in India is welcome on Aaron's Opinion any day. It was an honor for me to speak to you. Tremendous pleasure to have you on the show today. All right, we'll talk
Thank you
more.
so much.
We'll talk more. Well, now that we're connected, we can talk as much as you want. And let me just end the episode here, and I'll tell you a couple other
Yeah,
things. So,
yeah.
thanks so much, everybody. Tremendous honor today. Idea. That was a magnificent episode. Aaron's Opinion 6 at gmail.com, 1240-681-9869. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, even comment below. Even consider becoming a patron on my Patreon page. Don't forget, by the way, hiring people with disabilities. Definitely the best idea. Help one person today, help a million people tomorrow.